Back off, sir.
Back off, sir.
VIP section isn't for people like you. Hostess's smile was sharp as glass. She plucked Marcus Walker's reservation slip, tore it clean in half, and let the pieces scatter across marble. Her stiletto came down hard, grinding until ink bled into stone. Food court's down the street, she added, phone lifted, live stream already glowing red. The lobby froze. Crystal glasses halted mid-sip. Designer purses snapped open for cameras. Conversations turned into whispers. Marcus stood still. Hoodie faded, Nike sneakers scuffed, hands loose at his sides. He didn't argue, didn't flinch. At the corner booth, a laughing couple sprawled across leather like royalty, the city's skyline blazing behind them. The manager bowed low, ushering them into the VIP as if the throne were theirs. Marcus watched in silence, the weight of 100 eyes pressing down. Emma's fingers finally moved, tapping slowly across her tablet screen as though the system itself might reject what Marcus was saying. "Walker," she repeated, her tone careful, measured. "Let me check on that for you." Marcus nodded, hands relaxed at his sides. The memory flashed unbidden. His father's voice when Marcus was 16, standing in a department store while security followed them through aisles. "Keep your hands visible, son. Don't give them an excuse." 25 years later, the reflex remained. Hands loose, posture open, nothing that could be misread as threat. The dining room hummed with conversation and soft jazz. Crystal chandeliers threw fractured light across white tablecloths. Everything was exactly as it should be, except for the expression on Emma's face. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, though her voice carried no apology. "I'm not seeing a confirmation here. When did you make this reservation?" "This morning, 10:45. Confirmation number was sent to my email." Marcus kept his tone even, professional. He didn't pull out his phone to show her. Not yet. Emma's lips pressed into a thin line. She glanced toward the back office, then returned her attention to Marcus with visible reluctance. "Let me get our manager. Just one moment." She turned and walked quickly toward the kitchen, her heels clicking against marble. Marcus stood in the entryway, counting his breaths the way his therapist had taught him. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. A couple brushed past him, white, well-dressed, the woman's perfume expensive and overpowering. Neither acknowledged him. A waiter carrying a tray of champagne glasses gave him a questioning look, as if Marcus might be lost. The manager emerged from the back hallway, a thin man in his 40s with sharp features and sharper eyes. David Carter, according to the nameplate pinned to his vest. He approached Marcus with the kind of smile that never reached the eyes. "Good evening," David said, his gaze sweeping Marcus from head to toe in one practiced motion. "I understand there's some confusion about a reservation?" "No confusion," Marcus replied calmly. "I reserved a VIP table this morning under the name Walker." David took the tablet from Emma, scrolling with exaggerated care. His eyebrows lifted slightly. "VIP tables require advance booking and certain arrangements. Are you sure you have the right restaurant?" The words landed exactly as intended. Marcus felt the familiar tightness in his chest. Not anger, not yet, but recognition. Another memory. His first board meeting as a junior partner, the only black face in a room of 20, the senior partner who kept asking if he was sure he was in the right place. Marcus had smiled then, too, kept breathing, proved himself. "I'm certain," Marcus said. "Walker, party of 1, VIP section." David's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "I'm not seeing a confirmation. Perhaps there was a technical error." The front door opened behind Marcus, a rush of cool air followed by laughter. A couple entered, Brad Taylor and Jessica Reed, though Marcus didn't know their names yet. White, affluent. Brad wore a sport coat that probably cost more than most people's rent. Emma's face transformed. The frozen smile became genuine, bright, immediate. Mr. Taylor, Ms. Reed, welcome back. David turned toward them, his entire posture softening. Good to see you both. Your usual table? We didn't make a reservation, Brad said with easy confidence. Of course. Right this way. David gestured toward the VIP section, the same section he'd just implied wasn't available. Jessica's eyes flicked to Marcus as she passed, lingering for a half-second. She leaned toward Brad, whispering something Marcus couldn't quite hear, but he caught the edge of her smile, amused, slightly confused. Marcus didn't move, didn't speak, just watched as David led them through the dining room toward the elevated VIP area with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Chicago skyline, the same area Marcus had specifically requested. He pulled out his phone, fingers moving quickly, typing a text to someone who would understand exactly what was happening. Sarah, it's starting. David returned from seating Brad and Jessica, his expression a careful mask of professional courtesy, barely concealing impatience. As I was saying, we can seat you in the main dining area. I'd like to speak with your general manager, Marcus said quietly. David's smile tightened. I am the manager on duty tonight. If you'd like to wait for a table, then I'll wait. Marcus moved to the side of the hostess stand, out of the flow of arriving guests, but still clearly visible. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed loosely. The minutes crawled. Marcus counted 3 parties seated in 15 minutes. None had reservations. None were turned away. From his position, he had a clear view of the VIP section. Brad and Jessica occupied the corner table, the exact table Marcus had requested. Jessica had her phone out, angled toward the dining room, recording. Emma whispered something to David, who shot Marcus an irritated glance. Their conversation was too quiet to hear, but Marcus caught fragments. Still here. Maybe check with... David approached again, professionalism now edged with something harder. Sir, I've checked our system thoroughly. There's no reservation under Walker in our VIP section. I'd like to wait right here, Marcus said, steel underneath the calm, until you verify my reservation. The general manager isn't on site tonight. David's tone shifted, became clipped. I am the authority here. Without a confirmed reservation, I cannot seat you in the VIP area. Marcus tilted his head slightly. But you seated the couple that arrived after me without a reservation. David's expression flickered, surprise, then defensiveness. Mr. and Ms. Taylor are regular customers. We have an understanding with our valued guests. I see. Marcus pulled out his phone, opening his email to the confirmation. Here's my confirmation number. Sent at 10:47 this morning. VIP table, 8 p.m. David barely glanced at the screen. Email confirmations can be... Anyone can generate an email. Our system is the official record. The implication landed like a slap. Marcus felt heat rise in his chest, but kept his face neutral. He shifted his position slightly, angling his phone so the camera had a clear view. He tapped record, then lowered it to his side. I'll give you 10 more minutes, Marcus said quietly. Then I'm going to need an explanation for why I'm being treated differently. David's face flushed. Sir, I don't appreciate the insinuation. I haven't insinuated anything. I'm simply observing. In the VIP section, Brad was watching now. He said something to Jessica, who laughed and lifted her phone more obviously, pointing it toward Marcus. The lens caught the light, a small red recording indicator visible. David followed Marcus's gaze, saw Jessica filming, and his expression hardened. Sir, you're creating a disturbance. If you continue... I'm standing quietly, waiting for service I reserved and paid for. Emma whispered urgently to David. He listened, nodded, then turned back with new resolve. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We reserve the right to refuse service. There it was. Marcus felt the moment crystallize. Other diners were looking now, sensing drama. On what grounds? Marcus asked. Our dress code policy. This is a fine dining establishment. Marcus glanced down at his hoodie, then back at David. Your website doesn't list a dress code, and I see other guests in casual attire. He nodded toward a man in khakis and a polo shirt. David's flush deepened. Nevertheless, I'll wait, Marcus said. He pulled out his phone, dialing. The call connected. Sarah, activate Protocol Delta. I need you here in 15 minutes. A pause on the other end. Meridian, Chicago? That's one of the new acquisitions. I know. Understood. We're moving now. Marcus ended the call. When he turned back to David, his expression was unreadable. I'll continue waiting. David's jaw worked. Call security, he told Emma. The word security rippled through nearby tables. Heads turned. Conversation stopped. In the VIP section, Jessica's phone lifted higher, no longer pretending subtlety. She was openly filming now, her face lit by the screen's glow. Emma hesitated, her hand hovering over the phone. David, maybe we should call them now. Marcus remained perfectly still, back against the wall, hands visible. Another memory surfaced, unbidden. Age 22, pulled over for matching a description. The officer's hand on his weapon. Marcus's hands on the steering wheel, fingers spread wide. I'm reaching for my license now. It's in my right pocket. Moving slowly. So slowly. Surviving. Brad stood from his table in the VIP section, buttoning his sport coat as he approached. Is everything all right here, David? Just handling a situation, David replied. Nothing to worry about. Brad turned to Marcus, his posture open and friendly in a way that made everything worse. Hey, man. Look, I don't know what the confusion is, but maybe there's another restaurant nearby that's more, more your speed? He said it kindly, as if he were helping. Marcus met his eyes, expression neutral. I have a reservation for this restaurant, for that table. He nodded toward the VIP section. Brad's eyebrows lifted. That's our table. We're regulars here. David knows us. Jessica had moved closer now, phone still recording. Her voice carried across the room, pitched for her audience. Guys, this is getting awkward. There's some kind of situation. The restaurant is trying to handle it professionally, but... She trailed off, letting her viewers fill in the blanks. Marcus watched her, watched the red recording light. Didn't reach for his own phone. Just stood there, documenting itself through Jessica's lens. 2 security guards arrived, both large, both assessing Marcus in one sweep. Black man, casual clothes, alone, standing where he supposedly didn't belong. Their expressions shifted from alert to knowing. Sir, the first guard said, professionally detached, we need you to leave the premises. I have a reservation, Marcus said, voice still calm. I've asked multiple times for confirmation. I've been waiting over 30 minutes while other guests without reservations have been seated. The manager has asked you to leave, the guard continued. If you refuse, we'll have to escort you out. Marcus felt the eyes on him, dozens of them now. In the back corner, he noticed a black couple seated at one of the smaller tables. The woman leaned toward her companion, whispering urgently. Her expression was pained, knowing. She looked like she wanted to say something, but her partner placed a hand on her arm, gently restraining. Their silence spoke volumes. I'm recording this, Marcus said quietly, pulling out his phone and holding it up so everyone could see. I want it documented that I came here with a confirmed reservation and am being removed while other guests without reservations have been welcomed. You're threatening us? Brad's voice rose, genuine anger creeping in. Everyone's seeing this. He's threatening the staff. I'm documenting my experience, Marcus corrected. That's not a threat. Jessica zoomed in on Marcus. He's got his phone out now. This is getting intense. The staff is just trying to do their jobs, and he's... She didn't finish, but the implication was clear. Emma leaned toward David, whispering urgently. Maybe we should just check the system again. There's no glitch, David snapped, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "This happens sometimes. People try to use fake confirmations, stolen credit cards." The accusation hung in the air. Stolen credit cards. Fake confirmations. The words transformed Marcus from customer to criminal in a single breath. Marcus felt rage building in his chest, hot and tight. But he didn't let it show. Didn't let it touch his voice. Because any display of anger would be used against him, would confirm every assumption already made. "We have the right to refuse service," David continued. "And based on your behavior tonight, I'm exercising that right. You need to leave. Now." The first security guard stepped forward, hand moving toward Marcus's arm. "Don't touch me," Marcus said quietly. "I will leave. But I want it clearly stated. I am being removed despite having a confirmed reservation, while other guests without reservations have been welcomed." David's face flushed darker. "Our policies are none of your concern. You're no longer welcome here." Jessica's live stream view count was climbing. Marcus could see it on her screen. Hundreds of people watching in real time. Hundreds of people forming opinions from incomplete information. Brad moved closer to Jessica, inserting himself into her frame. "This is Meridian Chicago, one of the best restaurants in the city. They have standards. When someone tries to cause problems..." He shrugged, letting viewers complete the thought. Marcus looked at Brad, really looked at him, seeing not an individual but a pattern, a reflection of everything broken. Then he looked at Jessica, at her phone, at the hundreds of invisible eyes watching, and he made a decision. He pulled up his messages, sent a text to his legal team. "Full documentation needed, Meridian, Chicago, all video evidence preserved." The text sent. Marcus looked back at David. "I'll leave. But you should know, this isn't over. You've made decisions tonight based on assumptions about who I am, and those decisions have consequences." David's expression flickered with something that might have been uncertainty, but Brad stepped forward. "Is that a threat? Everyone heard that." "I stated a fact," Marcus said. "Your actions tonight will be documented and reviewed. That's how accountability works." The security guards moved closer. The message was clear. Marcus walked toward the exit, stride unhurried, head high. As he passed tables, he felt the stares, heard the whispers. The black couple in the corner. The woman had tears in her eyes, hand clutched tight around her partner's. She mouthed something to Marcus. "I'm sorry." He nodded to her, kept walking. Behind him, Jessica's voice, triumphant. "Okay, guys, crisis averted. The staff handled that really professionally. Sometimes you just have people who think rules don't apply to them, you know?" Marcus pushed through the revolving door into the cool Chicago night. His phone buzzed. "Sarah. Team en route. ETA 12 minutes. He looked back through the glass doors at Meridian, Chicago, at the chandeliers and white tablecloths and the VIP section where Brad and Jessica had returned to their stolen table. At David, standing with arms crossed, face set in righteous satisfaction. Marcus checked his watch. The $847 million transaction confirmation still glowed on his screen. They had 12 minutes before everything changed. Marcus stood on the sidewalk, the October air sharp against his skin. Through the windows, he could see the dining room returning to normal, conversations resuming, Brad and Jessica back at their table, laughing. His phone buzzed, text from his legal director. "Reviewed the incident video? Multiple policy violations confirmed. Proceed?" Marcus typed back, "Yes, full documentation." Another buzz. "Sarah, team is 8 minutes out. David Carter, 2 prior complaints about discriminatory behavior, both dismissed by previous ownership." Marcus absorbed this. 2 prior complaints, both dismissed. The system hadn't failed tonight. It had been failing for months. A black SUV pulled up. Sarah Chen emerged, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She was followed by Jennifer Park, legal counsel. They moved with quiet efficiency. "Marcus," Sarah said. "Briefing?" Marcus ran through the events quickly, clinically. Sarah's expression darkened with each detail. Jennifer was already reviewing the video Marcus had recorded. "Textbook discrimination," Jennifer said flatly. "Video evidence, multiple witnesses." "I'm going back in," Marcus said. "Give me 5 minutes, then follow." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "I need to see their faces when they understand." Marcus walked back toward the entrance. The doorman tensed. "Sir, you can't." "Yes, I can." He pushed through the revolving door. Emma spotted him first, her face draining of color. She grabbed David's arm, pointing. David turned, anger flashing across his face. "I told you to leave," David said, loud enough to draw attention. "You're trespassing now. Security!" The guards appeared, more aggressive this time. Marcus raised both hands, palms out. "I'm not here to cause problems," he said. "I'm here to speak with whoever's in charge of this establishment." "I already told you I'm in charge tonight," David snapped. He looked at the guards. "Remove him." Brad stood from his table, phone out, recording. "This is harassment. This guy was already kicked out and now he's back." "That's enough," Marcus said, and something in his tone made Brad stop. Jessica was filming too. "Guys, he came back. The staff asked him to leave and he came back." "No one needs to call the police," Marcus said. He pulled out his phone, scrolling to a specific email, then held it up so David could see. "I'm Marcus Walker. As of 2 p.m. today, I own this restaurant. I own this entire chain. 47 properties." The silence was absolute. David stared at the phone screen, expression shifting from anger to confusion to fear. That's not possible." "It's not a scam," Marcus said. He forwarded the email to the restaurant's management address. "Check your system." Emma pulled out a tablet, fingers shaking as she navigated to the corporate portal. Her face went white. "Oh my God," she whispered. "It's true. The ownership changed today. Walker Hospitality Group, CEO Marcus Walker." David grabbed the tablet, staring as if he could make the words rearrange themselves. No, this is..." "I am," Marcus said simply. Brad's phone lowered, camera now pointing at the floor. Jessica had stopped narrating. The dining room had gone so quiet Marcus could hear the kitchen sounds. Dishes clattering, someone calling out an order. The black couple Marcus had noticed. The woman was standing now, one hand pressed to her mouth, tears streaming. Her partner stood beside her, both staring at Marcus with expressions of shock and vindication. "You treated me like a criminal," Marcus continued, voice measured but carrying clearly. "You assumed I didn't belong based on how I look. You seated guests without reservations while claiming mine didn't exist. You accused me of using fake confirmations. You had me removed from a restaurant I own." David's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Brad tried to recover, voice shaky. "We didn't know. How were we supposed to—" "You weren't supposed to know," Marcus interrupted. "You were supposed to treat me with basic respect regardless of who I was. That's the point." The front door opened. Sarah Chen entered with Jennifer. They moved through the dining room with authority that made people step aside. "Mr. Walker," Sarah said formally, "we have the documentation you requested." Marcus opened the portfolio she handed him. Transfer papers, corporate policies, employee records. He looked up at David, who seemed to shrink. "David Carter," Marcus said, "you have 2 prior complaints of discriminatory behavior in your file. Both dismissed by previous ownership. I'm not previous ownership." David's face crumbled. "Mr. Walker, please. I didn't mean—" "You thought what?" Marcus asked. "That someone who looks like me couldn't possibly afford to eat here? Couldn't possibly own this place?" He paused. "That's exactly the problem." Jennifer stepped forward, voice professional and cold. "Mr. Carter, effective immediately. Your employment with Walker Hospitality Group is terminated." Miss Sanders, you're suspended pending investigation. Both of you need to leave the premises now. David looked like he might argue, but Jennifer's expression stopped him. She handed both of them folders. Your termination paperwork. You have 10 minutes to collect your belongings. Marcus turned to Brad and Jessica. As for you two, you're banned from this restaurant, from all 47 restaurants in this chain, permanently. Brad's face flushed red. You can't do that. We're customers. You participated in public humiliation, Marcus said. You don't get to continue being customers. Jennifer stepped closer. Your live stream constitutes potential defamation. We're reviewing it for legal action. I'd suggest you consult an attorney. Jessica's hand flew to her phone as if she could erase what she'd broadcast to thousands. I didn't mean... You meant exactly what you said, Marcus replied. Now you live with that. The restaurant remained frozen, every eye on Marcus. He could feel the weight of the moment, the way it balanced between vindication and cruelty. But that wasn't who he was. He turned to address the entire dining room. I didn't buy this restaurant to embarrass anyone. I bought it to build something better, to create a culture where everyone, regardless of what they look like, gets treated with dignity. What happened tonight can never happen again. The black woman who'd been crying rushed forward, stopping a few feet from Marcus. Thank you, she said, voice breaking. Thank you for coming back. For standing up. Marcus nodded to her, feeling emotion threatening to break through. No one should have to experience what I did tonight. That's why this matters. Sarah touched his elbow gently. Marcus, we should address the staff. Marcus followed Sarah to the kitchen. The entire staff had assembled, 23 faces, uncertain and afraid. Sarah stepped forward first. I'm Sarah Chen, COO of Walker Hospitality Group. As of 2 p.m. today, this restaurant is now owned by WHG. Your new CEO is Marcus Walker. She gestured to Marcus. Some of you witnessed what happened tonight. What you saw was unacceptable. A young server raised her hand. Is it true? David really got fired? Yes, Jennifer said. Mr. Carter's employment was terminated for violations of our anti-discrimination policies. Murmurs rippled through the staff. A black-line cook in the back, Jerome, according to his name tag, had tears streaming down his face. Marcus moved to the center. I didn't come here tonight to test anyone. I wanted to experience one of my new properties as a customer. What I experienced was being judged and excluded based on how I look. He paused, making eye contact. But what happened wasn't just about me. It was about a system that allowed complaints to be dismissed. About a culture where certain customers get treated like royalty, while others get treated like threats. That ends now. Jerome's hand went up. Mr. Walker, I've been here 4 years. I've seen things. Customers treated different based on skin color. I spoke up twice. Both times I was told to focus on my job. What's your name? Marcus asked. Jerome Williams, sous chef. Jerome, I want you to document everything you've witnessed, every incident. Can you do that? Jerome nodded. Yes, sir. Sarah was already typing. We're implementing a new reporting system, anonymous, independent, with mandatory investigation of every complaint. A white server, mid-50s, tired eyes, spoke up. What about those of us who didn't say anything when we saw things happening? Her voice cracked. What's your name? Marcus asked. Linda Ostrowski. Linda, I don't know what pressures you were under, but systems like this punish people who even think about speaking up. That's why changing the system matters more than punishing individuals caught in it. He turned to the full group. Here's what changes. Starting now, mandatory anti-bias training, new hiring practices, a scholarship fund, $10 million for students of color pursuing hospitality careers. The kitchen went silent. Someone whispered, 10 million? 10 million, Marcus confirmed. Because if we want different results, we need different people in the pipeline. Jerome approached after the staff dispersed. Mr. Walker, what you did tonight, coming back, standing your ground, that took courage. Marcus shook his head. It took resources, money, power, things most people don't have. That's why the system has to change. For every person like me who can fight back, there are thousands who can't. Jerome extended his hand. Marcus shook it. We'll change it, Jerome said. Together. Sarah handed Marcus her tablet back in the dining room. Jessica's live stream went viral. 2 million views. News outlets are picking it up. Marcus scrolled through Jessica's Instagram. The video had been screen recorded and reposted everywhere. Comments flooded in by the thousands. People were posting screenshots of her other videos, finding patterns of entitlement. Brad's employer put out a statement, Sarah continued. He's been placed on administrative leave. The speed was dizzying. Hours ago, Marcus had been expelled. Now the people who'd expelled him faced consequences rippling beyond this building. Jennifer appeared. David Carter contacted a lawyer, threatening wrongful termination. Marcus almost laughed. On what grounds? Claims he was following policy. That previous ownership never trained him properly. Offer settlement, Marcus said. Conditional on signed admission that his actions violated policy and completion of anti-bias training. Not because he deserves it, but because I want to move forward. Jennifer nodded. Marcus's phone buzzed. Text from Linda. Mr. Walker, the staff is talking, people are crying, some scared things won't change, but everyone is talking. Another text from Jerome. Local news outside? Should we talk to them? Marcus typed back. No staff interviews tonight. I'll make a statement. He looked at Jennifer. Draft something. Not defensive. Not triumphant. Honest. The message is, this isn't about revenge. It's about building something better. Sarah pulled up Twitter. Meridian Chicago is trending. So is Dignity Matters. Marcus scrolled through the hashtag. Thousands of people sharing their own stories. Restaurants where they were seated near bathrooms, stores where they were followed, offices where they were questioned. The stories poured out, a collective exhale. One tweet caught his attention. This is why representation matters, not just seeing ourselves in power, but seeing what happens when that power is used for justice. 15,000 retweets. Jennifer finished drafting. Marcus read it over, made edits, nodded. Send it out. Within minutes, the statement was live. Tonight I experienced discrimination at one of my own restaurants. I was judged and expelled based on my appearance. This is unacceptable. Not just because of who I am, but because it happens to countless people who don't have resources to fight back. Walker Hospitality Group is committed to building a culture where every person is treated with dignity. This is just the beginning. The response was immediate. Comments, shares, reactions flooding faster than Marcus could track. A distinguished black woman in a pantsuit approached from a nearby table. Mr. Walker? I'm Dr. Angela Morrison, professor at Northwestern studying organizational behavior. What you did tonight, using your position to create systematic change rather than just personal vindication, that's exactly the kind of leadership that works. Marcus extended his hand. Thank you, Dr. Morrison. But I want to be clear. I didn't plan this. She smiled. The best catalysts never plan to be. But how you respond when the moment comes defines whether change happens. She handed him a business card. If you're serious about building new systems, new training, I'd like to help. Marcus pocketed the card. I'll take you up on that. As Dr. Morrison returned to her table, Sarah showed another update. Jessica deleted her Instagram. Brad's LinkedIn is gone. Don't celebrate that, Marcus said quietly. They're human beings who made a mistake. I want them to learn, not just be destroyed. Sarah looked at him with wonder. After everything? Especially after everything, Marcus replied. If the goal is revenge, we haven't changed anything. But if the goal is justice, Real justice. Then even people who hurt us need a path forward. Otherwise, we're perpetuating the same cycles. His phone buzzed. Text from his mother. Baby, I saw the news. Are you okay? Marcus smiled, typing back, I'm fine, Mom. Better than fine. Marcus stood at the VIP section window, looking out at the Chicago skyline. The city spread before him like a constellation of possibilities. Sarah joined him with 2 cups of coffee. Long night, she said. Long night. Marcus took the coffee. Bold, smooth, exactly right. You know what the worst part was? Not the discrimination itself. The worst part was watching everyone else just accept it. Other customers, staff, everyone went along with the narrative that I was the problem. That's what systems do, Sarah said. They make injustice look normal. Marcus nodded. I keep thinking about that couple, the black couple. The woman wanted to say something, you could see it, but she couldn't. Because speaking up has costs not everyone can afford. But you could, Sarah said. And you did. I could because I'm a billionaire, Marcus replied. Because I have lawyers and resources. But justice shouldn't require wealth. Dignity shouldn't require power. Sarah was quiet. The board is worried about cost. $10 million for scholarships, new systems, investigations. Marcus's expression hardened. Tell them this. We spent $847 million acquiring restaurants. If we can't spend a fraction making sure those restaurants treat people with basic decency, we have no business owning them. What's the media situation? Marcus asked. Still developing, mostly positive, but pushback too. Some saying you set it up deliberately. Others saying you're being too hard on David and Emma. Marcus absorbed this without surprise. There's always people who need the story to be different. That's fine. I'm not doing this for them. Who are you doing it for? Marcus thought about Jerome, tears streaming. About Linda, carrying 30 years of guilt. About the couple who couldn't speak up. About everyone who'd been made to feel they didn't belong. Everyone who's ever been underestimated, he said. I want them to see you can stand your ground, that you can demand better. And when you get power, you have responsibility to use it to change the conditions that tried to keep you down. His phone buzzed. Dr. Morrison. Mr. Walker, I've been contacted by 6 other restaurant chains asking about anti-bias training. Your stand tonight is creating ripples. Marcus showed Sarah. See? That's what matters. Other companies asking questions, rethinking practices. You know this is just beginning, Sarah said. Changing culture takes years. There will be setbacks, resistance. I know, Marcus said. But for every person who resists, there's someone like Jerome who's been waiting for permission to speak truth. We're not starting from zero. He pulled out his phone, opening the recording from earlier. David dismissing him, Emma looking away, Brad and Jessica in the background. He watched it once, then deleted it. Sarah looked startled. Why? That's documentation. We have plenty, Marcus said. I don't need to hold on to my own humiliation. What happened, happened. Now we move forward. He turned back to the window, to the city lights, to the vast collection of lives intersecting in the darkness. You know what I want? I want a kid to walk into a restaurant 10 years from now and have it not even occur to them they might be judged by how they look. That's the world I want to build. That's a big dream, Sarah said. I'm a billionaire who just bought 47 restaurants, Marcus replied with a tired smile. If I'm going to dream, I might as well dream big. Marcus stood in front of his phone camera, the Meridian dining room behind him. The live stream counter ticked upward, 400,000 viewers and climbing. My name is Marcus Walker. If you've been following tonight, you know what happened. I walked into a restaurant I own and was treated like a criminal because of how I look. He paused. I want to talk to anyone who's ever been underestimated. Anyone who's walked into a space and felt you didn't belong? Anyone followed in stores? Questioned about your right to be somewhere? This is for you. The counter hit 500,000. What happened tonight happened because we have systems that allow bias to flourish unchecked. Systems where complaints get dismissed, bad behavior gets protected. Those systems exist because people with power benefit from them. They persist because changing them requires work and accountability. Marcus leaned closer. Here's what I'm committing to. Every restaurant in Walker Hospitality Group will undergo complete culture review, anti-bias training, anonymous reporting with independent investigation, and a $10 million scholarship fund for students of color pursuing hospitality careers. The comments moved too fast to read. But I can't do this alone. I can change my companies, but not the industry. That requires all of us. If you've experienced discrimination, document it. Tell your story. Make the invisible visible. He shifted. And if you're someone with power, manager, owner, executive, ask yourself, what are you doing to protect the most vulnerable people in your organization? Not in words, but in practice? The viewer count. 650,000. I know some think this is performative, that I'm a billionaire who can afford grand statements. You're partly right. I have privilege most don't. But that's exactly why I have to use it. If people with resources won't fight for change, nothing gets better. He leaned back. Tonight was hard, humiliating, infuriating, but it showed me exactly what needs to change and what I can do. And if my platform can make even a small difference, it's worth it. Marcus smiled slightly. Oh, and Jessica, next time, before you live stream someone's humiliation, consider you might not have all the facts, or that they might own the building you're standing in. The comments exploded. His expression turned serious. But honestly, I don't want Jessica destroyed. I don't want Brad blacklisted forever. I want them to understand what they did, why it was harmful, and to become people who do better. That's accountability, not just punishment, but transformation. He looked directly into the camera. Here's my ask. Share this if it resonated. Comment with your experiences if you feel safe. And when you're in a position to make a choice, whether to speak up or stay silent, challenge bias or let it slide, choose courage. Choose justice. Marcus paused. To the staff at Meridian and all 46 other restaurants, I see you. Your concerns matter. This is your company too. We're building it together. He ended the stream. Sarah stood nearby, tears on her face, though she was smiling. 800,000 views in the first 2 minutes after you ended. Marcus nodded, feeling the weight of all those eyes. Now comes the hard part. What's that? Living up to everything I promised. Words are easy. Sustained action over years is hard. But that's the work. His phone buzzed. His mother. I watched. I'm so proud of who you're choosing to be. Jerome. Mr. Walker, the kitchen staff wants you to know. We're with you. Whatever comes next. Marcus showed both messages to Sarah. We've got our coalition. Now we build. He pulled out Dr. Morrison's card. Tomorrow he'd call her. Start building the training programs, the partnerships, the network. Tonight had been confrontation. Tomorrow would be construction. Marcus walked to the front door, stepping into the cool night. He looked up at the building's facade. Elegant, expensive, exclusive. Starting tomorrow, those values would change. Class isn't what you wear, Marcus said quietly to the night. It's how you treat people when no one's watching. He turned to Sarah, Jennifer, still waiting inside. Let's go. We have work ahead. As they drove away, Marcus watched Meridian recede in the rearview mirror. Tomorrow it would be different, not perfect. Change didn't happen overnight, but different, better, more just. Because dignity wasn't something you bought or acquired through status. Dignity was something you defended. For yourself, yes, but more importantly, for everyone who came after. And that defense started now.